decided by 9 points or fewer. Sonano and Saxton to jump it up. And we are underway as South Carolina wins the tip. Iowa packing it in.
Iowa starting out in a triangle and two. It's a defense that gave them so much success in their Elite 8 matchup.
Here's Boston with Clark switched out on her. Beal gets a good look. Can't hit the three, and the rebound flagged down by Martin. That'll be a key for Iowa, securing the defensive glass against South Carolina, who has been historically good when it comes to offensive rebounding. Martin misses the layup, and Boston there for the board. A good look there for Kate Martin, considered the glue of this Iowa team. Here's Fletcher. Her jumper is airmailed, and Martin another board. Fletcher trying to deny Clark, who finally has it in her arms.
It's one thing you can do to try to limit Caitlin Clark is not make the outlet easy to get to her.
Clark gives it up. Sonano can't finish it. Like Clark might have had a look herself. Couple of empty possessions for each team to start. In this Final Four matchup, LSU waiting to face the winners Sunday afternoon after their huge fourth quarter to come back and beat Virginia Tech. 5 to shoot, dump inside. Denied by Sonano, who controls it for Iowa.
And you see the incredible congestion defensively by Iowa.
Clark, a deep one, nearly banked in. And Beal the rebound. Here's Beal looking to push pace for South Carolina, and Beal can't hit the banker. Martin able to flag down the rebound. Iowa able to hold strong defensively through these first few possessions.
And both of these teams very willing and capable of pushing in transition and scoring quickly.
Here's Clark working around Fletcher. Caitlin Clark has Iowa on the board first.
Beautiful set, clear out the right side of the floor, except for Gabby Marshall, one of the shooters who the defender cannot leave. Clark gets the easy two.
Clark averaging 30 points, 11 assists in this tournament. The AP Player of the Year. Fletcher given a world of space. Here's Boston. Boston faces up, can't finish. Martin yet another rebound. Here comes Kate Martin, busting ahead, gets denied by Boston.
South Carolina is the best shot blocking team in the country, much because of Aaliyah Boston's prowess inside.
Here's a look at how they got here, brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks. 4 players with at least 1 block, to your point. Only team in Division I with that. Clark sidestepping three, rims out. Great box out from Boston. Another chance here for Iowa, though. Sonano, the spin, and the finish. The Hawkeye faithful was loud in Seattle, and their voices have carried to Dallas. And a whistle underneath, going to go against Warnock as she was battling with Boston, and that is always a sub-story when you're going against the physicality of South Carolina. Taking a look at how they got here, brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks. And South Carolina 36-0. The points per game margin leading Division I. You see how incredible it is as Cook hits the jumper.
Gabby Marshall right up on Zia Cook, but able to elevate and score. She is so vitally important because she is a piece for South Carolina who can create her own shot.
Clark has a lot of space, did not take as the switch on Boston. Is looking to get it to Sonano. Clark will take Boston instead. Pedals through, hooks it up and off. Boston did a nice job there.
That's one of the things that makes her elite, is her ability to defend and contain on the perimeter against guards.
Saxton has the position inside, surrounded and just taken away by Sonano. Clark the get-ahead right in the lap of Warnock for two.
Iowa is an elite transition offensive team, but Lisa Bluter said in order to run, we got to corral those rebounds, and that's what's so tough against South Carolina.
Clark orchestrates get-ahead passes, reminiscent of Sue Bird, as the offensive foul is called against South Carolina.
37% of Caitlin Clark's assists come in transition. Her get-aheads from before midcourt are elite.
This is what you're talking about, Rebecca.
She's as good as they come in terms of having her head up, few dribbles, leading her teammates so they have an easy look the other end.
That foul was on Saxton. South Carolina, a very deep team. Clark looking to turn the corner, lays it in through the contact for Caitlin Clark. And an 8-2 start for Iowa. Zia Cook has it knocked away by Marshall. Going to stay here with the Gamecocks. Well, you have to like this start defensively if you're Iowa.
And South Carolina has seen this kind of defense all season long, playing off some players, contesting others. Caitlin Clark has not seen that kind of defense all year long in terms of the power of Aaliyah Boston, but able to get by and finish.
Clark with 4 early points. Boston, the 2-time Naismith Defensive Player of the Year, defended her title. With that announcement earlier this week, Hannah Stolke will come and spell Monica Sonano. Addison O'Grady in as well for Iowa. Camila Cardoso and Raven Johnson in off the bench for South Carolina as Cook hits another, and that's huge for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, that was a great double stagger screen away for Zia Cook, and she has great elevation on her jump shot.
Clark battling to get the basketball. Fletcher and Johnson have been all over her. Here is Clark off the handoff. Tried to sneak a pass inside, could not do it. Zia Cook evades the foul. Cook lays it in. Zia Cook off to a terrific start here in the semifinals. Clark will fire and hit from 3. Seven first quarter points for Caitlin Clark. Here's Raven Johnson lining it up. Back iron, no. Cardoso, another chance here for South Carolina. Nearly thrown away. Beal able to protect it. Boston bounces out for it. Working Stolke, and that's an offensive foul. First 3 of the game for Clark. She has 7 early points. Sonano back in for Iowa. O'Grady goes to the bench. Stolke stays on the floor. An 11-6 start for Iowa. Clark thought about the 3. Has to give it up. Finds Helton Martin. Still time to operate. Clark, a bomb. Off the mark.
But how about South Carolina? 6'5", Boston switches on her. 6'7", Cardoso switches on her.
Raven Johnson given all kinds of space. Cardoso just too big.
And because of their bigs' ability to switch on the perimeter defensively, Dawn Staley can go with this giant lineup inside.
Clark turns the corner and lays it in. 9 points for Caitlin Clark. Saw the 6'7" size of Cardoso. That's who Dawn Staley calls South Carolina's separator.
And look at how far Caitlin Clark is playing off of Raven Johnson.
Daring her to shoot from 3.
Do you see her? She's not even looking at her. She's swiped away with her hand.
Johnson dumps it into Cardoso. She throws it away. We have seen Lisa Bluter inventive defensively all season long. Clark goes cross court. Stolke. Good anticipation there by Johnson to knock it away. Zia Cook through the lane. Can't cup it in. Battle on the glass. Cook gets it back. Banks it in, plus the foul. A personal on Clark and a chance for 3 for Cook.
Iowa is going to dare certain players on the South Carolina team to shoot the basketball. Watch Caitlin Clark, left side. She doesn't even look at her, waves her hand as if to say, I don't care about you, I'm not defending you.
But Zia Cook has answered the call early for South Carolina. Dawn Staley told us before the game we would not be here if it wasn't for the maturation of Zia Cook, Holly.
You guys, you might remember in this very game a year ago against Louisville, they had to take her out of the game. She was missing everything and wasn't playing defense like they needed. Dawn had a meeting with her at the beginning of this season and said, we can only go as far as your mental strength will take us, and she changed it. She said she's the sole reason we're where we are because she's done the work, and Zia Cook has been the mentally strong player here in the first quarter.
Clark, great look. Sonano lays it in. 15-11, Iowa in front. Hall kept her right foot down. Boston getting all kinds of attention. That three won't go. Cardoso, the offensive rebound, throws it away. Marshall on the steal. Kate Martin will fire and hit. An 18-11 start for the Hawkeyes. Remember, Clark already with a personal, Boston as well. Johnson, no. Long rebound, Warnock, and a foul called on Boston. That will be her second. Wow. Looked like she was just pursuing the rebound.
Iowa focusing, of course, on boxing out. Oh, you cannot wrap around like that. Oh, that is a tough second foul, Rye.
And Boston will head to the bench with 2 fouls in this first. Can Iowa take advantage? Remember, South Carolina, unlike most teams that make it this far, are extraordinarily deep. Sonano lays it in on the delivery from Clark.
Dawn Staley's focus at practice was to limit Iowa's threes, but it has been at the expense of some wide open layups and miscommunication defensively.
4th assist for Clark, a 7-0 Iowa run. Cook has 9 for South Carolina. A team that has not lost since March 6th of 2022. Cook, no. Rebound Ami here. Deflected by Marshall, who's been pesky when it comes to those outlet passes off of offensive rebounds. Cook fires again, can't hit. Another O board, this time it's Johnson. She'll lay it in. That's what South Carolina does so well, as Sonano has to get it in, finds Martin. South Carolina, the best offensive rebounding team in the nation, historically good when it comes to grabbing their own misses. They get them nearly 50% of the time. You see averaging 20 O boards per game in the tournament. Clark goes early and gets fouled. Caitlin Clark misses the layup, but will shoot 2. Left some time for South Carolina, though. Boston just a spectator at the moment with 2 fouls, and we'll see how Dawn Staley plays it. What we've seen from the Sweet 16 in is coaches are very reluctant to play any of their key figures once they pick up that second in the first half, as Clark hits the first. Clark hits both. First free throws for Iowa. Clark will check out, get a little early start on a end of quarter break. 89th straight game in double figures, 11 points, 4 assists for Caitlin Clark. 3 seconds left in the quarter. Zia Cook looking for an angle, can't hit, and that is how the first quarter will end. Iowa a 9-point lead after 1. We will chat.
Out of Caitlin Clark's hands, it's a lot easier said than done.
Here's Clark, pressured by Johnson. Boston remains on the bench with 2 fouls. Warnock gets a look. Short on a 3, and Zia Cook off and running for South Carolina. She had 9 in the first quarter to lead the way for the Gamecocks.
The scouting report defense by Iowa, man-to-man, but sagging in all the right places, if there's such a thing.
Leave that with you, my friend. Thompson into the game for South Carolina. Gets a look here from 3. Airballs it, and it's cleaned up by Clark.
Dawn Staley trying to find someone who is confident shooting from the perimeter.
Clark gives it up. Warnock another look. That one no good either, and a nice box out from Cardoso. Here's Zia Cook pushing pace. Digging into Marshall and laying it in.
Where would South Carolina be in this game so far without Zia Cook?
It was Destiny Henderson who stepped up for them last season in the championship game with a 26-point performance. Here's Martin. Finds Sonano on the roll and gets fouled. Monica Sonano will shoot 2 as Cardoso picks up her first.
Zia Cook with the in-and-out dribble and working the baseline. Gabby Marshall plays pretty good defense, but Zia Cook able to wiggle in and find a little life.
Here's tonight's player resume brought to you by Indeed. Zia Cook, you see the way she has improved this season, a third-team All-American. And those are offensive numbers. You heard Holly talk about it before. Zia has improved dramatically on the defensive end, which has really been Dawn Staley's focus. We asked her what she needs from Zia tonight. She said, I don't care what I get offensively, as long as she keeps defending the way she has.
Well, she certainly cares now because Zia Cook is 5 of 9. The rest of the South Carolina team 2 for 11.
And Aaliyah Boston just a spectator right now after that second foul. Last year's player of the year. Caitlin Clark this year's. Amihir bodies in, can't finish. Iowa battling, Amihir finishing plus the foul. That's where South Carolina can just bully ball you, and a chance for 3. Hey, don't forget to check out the Bird and Taurasi Show, presented by AT&T, currently on ESPN2, featuring WNBA legends and all-around cool humans, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. If you miss any of the show, you can watch it later on demand, available only on ESPN+. Amihir. It's the free throw. And that's what we're talking about with the depth of South Carolina, Rebecca. It's not just size in their starting lineup. Clark nearly got swallowed up by 3 defenders. Clark bounces inside. Sonano going up tough, and Cardoso gobbled it up. Here comes Cook with some zest. Cook through the lane, cups it in, plus the foul. Zia Cook a chance for 3. That is number 2 on Caitlin Clark.
Zia Cook has done a really nice job of getting inside here. Cardoso at 6'7", just too hard to shoot over.
And a huge foul call there, as now Clark has 2 as well. We know Boston is on the bench with 2. And unlike Boston, Clark is going to remain on the floor. Clark fading and hitting. Ends a little 6-0 burst from South Carolina. Lisa Bluter trusting her junior guard, who, for those wondering, is not draft eligible, as Clark comes back and knocks it out of bounds. So yes, you'll get at least 1 more year watching Caitlin Clark at Iowa.
You come into a game like this and just hope as a fan that the Stars don't get in foul trouble, and both of them are.
Johnson again being dared to shoot by Caitlin Clark. Not even attempting to defend her out there. She will take, can't hit. Rebound, Cardoso gets the roll. South Carolina so dominant on the offensive glass.
That's where they're relentless. A missed shot is like an assist for South Carolina.
Sydney a falter, gets it into the arms of Clark. Clark gets it across the timeline. A deep 3 is good. Caitlin Clark rising to the moment. Amihir looking inside, storms in, can't finish, loose ball. Amihir gets it back. No, another chance here. And we'll have a tie-up. Possession arrow stays with South Carolina.
You try to deny Caitlin Clark the basketball because with it in her hands, her range is almost limitless. This is good defense by Raven Johnson. Caitlin Clark still easily able to drain it.
Clark out there with 2 fouls. Johnson, after another set of offensive rebounds, gets it into Cook. Amihir dumps it in, and it's knocked off the window. Clark has it. Clark zipping into the paint. Out to Marshall. Marshall thinking about getting it back to Clark, and will. Clark has it poked away. What a play by Amihir. Just took it away from Caitlin Clark, and now Zaya Cook is going to lay it in.
Amihir is about the 4th different defender we have seen on Caitlin Clark.
And she has given South Carolina terrific minutes off the bench here.
6'5" and long.
Clark dumps it to Sonano on the roll, serves it in. "16 points, 5 assists for Caitlin Clark. Sonano up to 10 points. That duo, the only in Big Ten history to score 2,000 points apiece. Johnson, again, given all that space. Cook will fire a deep one. Short, rebound Clark. Caitlin Clark is fouled in the backcourt by Johnson. 3rd team foul against South Carolina, and the 1st on Johnson.
Caitlin Clark coming out, I thought she was looking a little bit tired, and I know Lisa Bluter gives her that little bit of extra time around the TV timeouts.
Gets a breather here. Caitlin Clark, officially the first player in Division I history with 1,000 points and 300 assists in a single season. Martin loses the dribble, and it's taken by South Carolina. Here's Johnson motoring in transition, and it's out of bounds off of Iowa, and it's going to stay here.
And this is the difference in one of them between the stars on this team. South Carolina can weather the storm with Aaliyah Boston on the bench in foul trouble. Caitlin Clark's getting a quick break because Iowa could not weather the storm with her having to sit for prolonged minutes.
Bree Hall gives it back to Cook. 6-point Iowa lead. 2 fouls for Boston, 2 for Clark. Dumped into Cardoso, working Sonano. Cardoso finds the angle.
Just so big. This South Carolina lineup is just so big.
Here's Davis. Over to Martin. Iowa trying to survive the minutes without Clark, and a foul here is going to go against South Carolina. Caitlin Clark has
ball screens and not getting under. That's been effective for Iowa.
Lisa Bluter has been masterful in the sets that she has run and putting the shooters on the side of the floor that benefit her team, whether it's in pick and roll or dribble penetration.
Kate Martin barrels in, couldn't get the whistle or the bucket. South Carolina ball as they weather the storm with Aaliyah Boston on the bench. And we have a shot clock issue.
Ryan, earlier this season we were talking to Dawn Staley, and she called Camila Cardoso the separator. Cardoso at 6'7", is 3 for 3 from the floor right now, and there have been times in this first half where it's looked like a 6th grade team playing against a 9th grade team in terms of the difference in size and the impact it's having on the offensive glass.
Clark playing with 2 fouls. Hall will fire, can't hit from 3. Another offensive rebound. Amihir lays it in, plus the foul. Sonano reaching in, and that'll be number 2 on Monica Sonano as Amihir continues to attack the offensive glass.
It can be hard to shoot when you are that wide open, but it is such a security blanket when you have teammates who can get to the offensive glass. Aaliyah Boston used to getting the offensive boards and not cheering for them. Lisa Bluter, we got to box out.
Amihir hits the free throw. How about Letitia Amihir and her minutes? 6 points, 5 rebounds, all of them offensive. And the Iowa lead has been shaved down to 1. Clark will fire. No. Front rim. Cook the rebound. Hall hops through, has it stripped momentarily. South Carolina riding a 42-game winning streak. The reigning champs, 36-0 this season. Hall will fire again. In and out, long rebound. This time Clark has it. Clark spins, lost it out of bounds. Last hit, Iowa. Clark wanted a whistle, did not get it.
Clark's so good when she's in the open floor. Got a little bit of a bump there.
Looked like Hall got into the back of Clark, and that's what Clark's pointing at, saying, look at the replay.
They don't tend to do that.
No, and in fact, even if they did,
wouldn't help.
No. Not tangibly, anyway. The denial there from Davis. Amihir. The pivot, the finish, and South Carolina has its first lead of the night. A 7-0 run as the Gamecocks have got it done with Boston on the bench. Warnock gets free, misses the three, long rebound, Cook after it. Free Beal, and she stepped out of bounds. South Carolina turns it over. And coming up at halftime, Degree Halftime Report. Live with LSU coach Kim Mulkey, just her second season with the Tigers, and they are headed for the national championship game. First time in program history, plus reactions to the first half from our outstanding crew, including Carolyn Peck, honored at halftime, headed to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. So will she someday. Caitlin Clark buries the three.
It is exhausting playing against South Carolina and how they can wear on you getting to the offensive glass, how physical they are. So you see Lisa Bluter continuing to go to her bench. But the one player who seems at times to be tireless is that young woman, Caitlin Clark.
19 points, 5 assists for Clark, playing with 2 fouls. Zaya Cook has had a big-time first half. Weaves through, dishes out. Hall gonna fire again. That one is good. First three of the game for South Carolina. Stokey running on the other end, lays it in. On the dime from Clark. How about the action here?
It has not disappointed.
Iowa 1-point lead. South Carolina now 1 for 10 from deep. Iowa 4 for 11. Zaya Cook leans in and banks it home.
I could not be more impressed with Zaya Cook's readiness in this game.
And a foul on Hall is going to be the 4th on South Carolina.
Talking about the get-ahead passes, and so many this season from Caitlin Clark have landed in the arms of Hannah Stokey. She runs the floor so well. And then Zaya Cook, quickness and then patience. She has been so good and efficient here in the first half.
18 in the first half for Zaya Cook. Shining in this moment for her team when they need her most. Martin gets it across the timeline. Trying to get it back to Clark. Could not. Now does. 1 point South Carolina lead. Clark gets it back. On the roll, the layup, no good from O'Grady. Had a clean look. Sonano on the bench with 2 fouls. He is normally on the receiving end of those. Beal in the corner. No. Weak side rebound. Stokey. Over to Clark. Clark wants it back. 45 seconds to go in this opening half. Clark Drops it to O'Grady, denied by Cardoso. A force on the interior.
Caitlin Clark is having to work so hard just to get the ball back in her hands. Beautiful pass, but that's a tough one to finish over 6'7". The separator.
3 blocks now for Cardoso. Clark with 13 to shoot. Dumps it in to O'Grady. Clark looking to get it. Martin putting it on the floor. And she's fouled. South Carolina over the limit. So Peyton Martin will go to the line to shoot 2. South Carolina has outscored Iowa 24-14 thus far in this second.
Here's the Bluter taking Caitlin Clark out of the game for what will be a defensive possession.
And so Clark able to navigate having those 2 fouls as Martin hits the first. 19 points, 6 assists for Clark, 18 points, 5 rebounds for Cook to lead South Carolina. Kate Martin with 5 rebounds in this opening half. South Carolina plus 10 on the glass as Martin hits both. Hall will check in. So will Olivia Thompson.
Trying to put a little spacing on the floor, and South Carolina is going to a lot of high ball screen for Zia Cook. Sometimes it's a double screen, sometimes it's a single.
You take a look at the way South Carolina has not only weathered the storm, but excelled with Boston on the bench in this first half. The 19-2 bench points advantage for the Gamecocks.
Shooters in the corners, high ball screen.
Here it is. Cook into the corner. Thompson can't hit. Cardoso is fouled by either Stolke or O'Grady. They both were there, and it looks like it's going to be Stolke. Iowa had a foul to give. Raven Johnson and Bree Beal will check in for South Carolina as Thompson and Hall enter the bench.
It's 11 offensive rebounds for South Carolina.
That's 6 lead changes over the last 3 minutes. A knee here, barrels in and travel.
You put Caitlin Clark back in? Yes, you do.
And if you're Clark, you just have to make sure not to push off in any way with 2 fouls.
Or at least not to get called for it.
That. 8th turnover for South Carolina. Sonano in as well with her 2 fouls. 4 seconds to operate for Iowa. Sonano on the catch, gets it to Clark, gives it up. Marshall connects, no, halfway down, and it pops out on a beautifully drawn up play from the Iowa bench. Iowa takes a 1-point lead.
Tucks through that first half.
You see South Carolina in the second halves of games has been unbelievably difficult. This just the 4th time they have trailed at the half.
What might have been for Zia Cook last year pressing, this year has been impressing.
Clark, a deep one, short. Rebound, Victoria Saxton. Boston back on the floor after she was limited in that first half to just 8 minutes with 2 fouls. South Carolina was able to outscore Iowa with Boston on the bench. Clark has 2 fouls herself as Marshall comes back for the steal. Here is Clark. Clark spinning into the paint, gets to the cup, and reverses it in.
South Carolina has Aaliyah Boston back on the floor. Get her a touch, whether it's in the high post or the low.
Boston working down on Warnock. Here's Cook, squeezes a low pass. Saxton trying to get it into Boston. Fletcher will take. No. Long rebound, Fletcher. Fletcher bangs in. Can't finish. Rebound poked out of bounds. And again, it's going to stay here with South Carolina. Iowa just cannot grab a defensive rebound.
Caitlin Clark just going around here. Fletcher, the tough finish with her back to the rim. What can't she do, Ryan Rucco?
Is there an answer to that?
Apparently not.
Saxton And we have a foul away from the ball on who? If it's on Sonano, it will be her third. And it is. So a third foul on Monica Sonano.
It's going to be physical inside. And
maybe grabbing at Boston. So this is an interesting decision for Lisa Bluter. She's going to send Sonano to the bench with the third foul. But are these other bigs for Iowa ready for the moment? Addison O'Grady comes in.
They certainly aren't the same threat on the offensive end of the floor.
Boston spins, flips, can't finish. Rebound into the arms of Marshall. Here is Clark. Clark goes around Fletcher. The leaner is good. You almost feel like for Iowa to win, they have to cash in whenever they get a defensive rebound. Fletcher can't finish. Here's another D-board. Clark separates from Cook. Can't hit the three. Knocked away, kept alive. Martin thought about it in the corner. Out to Marshall. Warnock clapping for it, and now Lisa Bluter will calm down Iowa. South Carolina +9 on the offensive glass. Warnock dumps it inside. O'Grady lays it in. Gorgeous set there for Iowa. And a good start to the third for the Hawkeyes.
Iowa continuing to take advantage of South Carolina's aggressiveness.
And that is going to be a foul on Aaliyah Boston. Her third. And Aaliyah is mystifying. We'll take another look, Rebecca. It looked like she was just standing there.
You could read her lips. She said she's holding me, so let's see it here. Warnock trying to step in front. Boston, she got her with the elbow, and that's what the official saw, not the arm in front of her first.
And this time, Boston will stay on the floor after picking up her third. Martin spins into the paint. Martin lays it in. Iowa's matched its largest lead. It's 9. And now a foul on who? It'll be on Iowa. This is, in fairness to the officials, it's such a tough game to defend with the physicality and the size of South Carolina.
Incredibly physical in the paint.
Cook dips it. Saxton can't finish it. Boston misses as well. Cook gets a chance. No, another chance, and this time Boston banks it in. Here's Kate Martin beating South Carolina down the floor, and O'Grady softly puts it home. Boston a deep catch. Boston, no. Warnock the rebound. Pushing for Iowa. Martin. We'll calm it down now. Clark had some space. Tried to force a pass there. One of the first bad decisions of the night for Caitlin Clark. Zaya Cook leaning. Follows it up. And a whistle, and it's going to be on Iowa as they cannot secure the defensive glass again. And it'll be on McKenna Warnock, her second.
And how about Zaya Cook following her shot, knowing that the off-balance three was going to be short and able to get the O board.
South Carolina has won 42 straight games, tied for the 7th longest streak in Division I history, the longest in school history. They've gone 389 days since their last loss. Iowa leading by 9 in this third quarter. A charged up Iowa fan base here in Dallas. Again, Clark sagging completely off of Johnson.
And not even looking at her.
Bree Beal doesn't get the roll. Look at Cardoso tip it to herself and bank it in.
South Carolina is going to get more field goal attempts than you because of their relentlessness on the offensive glass.
Clark, a little risky. Martin able to keep it alive for the Hawkeyes.
So you have to shoot a higher percentage, including from the three-point line.
And that's going to be a foul on Raven Johnson. Hey, the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Final Four begins Saturday, 6 Eastern on CBS. For more information, go to ncaa.com. You have a good spot picked out for us to watch it tomorrow night?
Do I?
Oh, it's Holly's job. I forgot.
That's right.
7-point Iowa lead with 5:51 to go in the third. Clark picked up the dribble, needs some help, finds it in Marshall, who has shot it very well in this tournament. Stolke sets the screen. Clark will pull, can't hit, side rim no. Stolke looked like she nearly fouled Cook. Zaya Cook wheeling all the way in and banks it home. Zaya Cook with a 20-point night. Here's Martin. Martin tucks it. Stolke kicks it. Clark into the paint, stops, dishes. Warnock connects on a three.
Caitlin Clark's ability to manipulate the defense to get her teammates open looks.
Meanwhile, Cardoso is getting whatever she wants on the interior.
She's been incredible in this game for South Carolina.
Clark rims out. Marshall nearly came up with a steal. 6-point Iowa lead, more than halfway through the third. Boston playing with 3 fouls. Clark has 2. Sonano on the bench with 3 for Iowa. Dump inside, and there's going to be another Iowa foul. Timeout on the floor. The Stars are delivering tonight.
Valuing the ball, boxing out, but then she keeps saying this phrase over and over, mission focus. She wants them so focused on each play, the intricacies, mission focus, mission focus. She is so positive right now, trying to breathe that positivity into her team.
She has had her team navigating without Monica Sonano for most of this third after she picked up her 3rd foul. Bree Beal got a running start, can't bank it in. Cardoso does, plus the foul.
You heard Caitlin Clark talk about that with Holly Rowe in our halftime interview. We've got to stop giving up the and ones on the offensive rebounds, but when the player getting the board is 6'7", that's a lot easier said than done.
Most second chance points and offensive rebounds Iowa has allowed this season. One of the reasons they improved so much this year defensively was because of their dramatic jump when it came to securing the defensive glass. Iowa is just in a league of their own, though. Excuse me, South Carolina is when it comes to offensive rebounding. Warnock dips inside, can't finish it. Working around Boston, who has 3 fouls. Here's Johnson. Johnson dumps it underneath. Nice job by Kate Martin to deny it. Clark, eyes up, finds Marshall. Stolke battling with Boston. Gets it back. Stolke can't flip it in. Boston did a nice job defending there despite the 3 fouls. And maybe Iowa a little too focused on trying to put number 4 on Boston there. Here's Beal. Beal dips in and finishes. South Carolina back to within 2.
The overpowering size and strength of South Carolina at every position.
Clark has the mismatch. Oh, Caitlin Clark. Now you see her, now you don't. That ends a 6-0 burst from South Carolina. 25 for Clark. Boston gets good position inside and gets fouled.
Great hands by Aaliyah Boston. Hands on one end from the big and feet on the other. Caitlin Clark knows she's got 6'7" right there. What do? Boop, step right through. Masterful once again.
Stolke will check out. She has 3 fouls now. Sonano back in with her 3 fouls, and Boston will go to the line to shoot 2, the presumptive #1 pick in this year's WNBA draft, although Boston has not yet officially said she is headed to the draft.
keep an eye because South Carolina is very good offensive rebounding off of missed free throws.
Hits them both. No chance there. And a substitution here. Amihir will come and get Boston. And remember, Letitia Amihir's minutes in that first half were critical for South Carolina. At 8 points and 6 rebounds, 5 of which were offensive. And a foul here on a reach-in.
Kate Martin's did a really nice job to give Caitlin Clark possessions where she doesn't have to bring the ball up and doesn't have to work quite as hard and has handled the pressure fairly well.
Iowa just 5 of 17 from 3. Clark has it on the logo. Tried to force it in. Sonano battling for it and gets the whistle. And that's the savvy offensively Sonano has that those young bigs for Iowa do not. Although they did a nice job holding their own with Sonano on the bench for a prolonged period.
And this is a bobbled pass. It does not count as a dribble. And she gets it and tries to throw it up, knowing it's not going to go in, but she can get herself to the free throw line.
Do you want to give your dribble stat?
There's one. I'm not counting the ones on the free throw.
What's one?
She has one entire dribble. One dribble the entire NCAA tournament, 4 games coming into here. These dribbles right here are the most we've seen her dribble in the last month.
She hits both free throws, and Sonano's a player who averages 17 points per game. She gets her looks, she just doesn't put it on the deck. South Carolina started 1 of 11 in the quarter. They are 5 of 6 since. Beal dives in. Beal has it stripped, but a foul, and who's it on? It's on Kate Martin. It will be her second, and free throws here for Bree Beal.
South Carolina playing through the high post and passing on to the weak side where Beal has the size advantage. Comes in, she's surrounded. Ooh, that looked like good hands by Sonano.
Yeah, not sure there was much there.
But as you mentioned, it has been a very physical game in the paint, not an easy one to officiate.
Beal hits the second. 55-52, Iowa in front. Clark gets it into Marshall, right back to her. Guarded by Johnson. Clark stops on a dime, lefty runner won't go. Rebound Johnson. Beal given a lot of space. Spins, Bree Beal can't finish. Sonano the rebound. Outlets to Marshall. Iowa leading by 3. And they have not hit threes like you would have thought they had to in order to have a lead at this juncture. 5 for 17, although South Carolina 1 for 14. And a foul underneath against Amihir. And that is going to put Sonano at the line. And that will be number 3 on Letitia Amihir. Sonano hits the first. Boston on the bench at the moment for South Carolina. 3 fouls for Boston. Sonano hits them both. 5-point Iowa lead. A trip to Sunday's championship game against LSU on the line tonight. Again, Iowa just inviting Johnson to shoot. Johnson will this time, and hit. That is a huge one for Raven Johnson, who's shot it at just 21% from 3 this season.
But Iowa will continue to play the percentages and continue to play off of her.
Clark has the switch, dumps it in, and a little out in front of Sonano as Iowa turns it over.
Raven Johnson does not have a defender within, what, 10 feet of her? They're just looking at her, not contesting in any way, able to get it to fall.
1 for 3 tonight now. .40 seconds to go in the third. Cook. Clark comes with help. Cook loses it. Out of bounds to Iowa. And they can essentially hold for a final shot.
Kate Martin had elite communication defensively to her team, knowing that there was a clear out to the right side, ready to expect the drive by Isaiah Cook.
12th South Carolina turnover. Iowa has turned it over 7 times. About a 2-second difference, game and shot clock here. Clark, 25 points, 7 assists. Shot clock at 6. Clark finds Warnock. Back to Clark. Into Sonato. Deep catch. The rudder is good for Sonato. And that is how the third quarter will end. For just the second time this season, South Carolina trails, headed to the 4th.
The defensive glass. South Carolina has been relentless in their ability to get second and third looks. Of course, you want to make sure Aaliyah Boston stays out of foul trouble or further foul trouble. But right now, Iowa continues to change things, looks up a little bit defensively.
Johnson hit a 3 a moment ago. Here is Cook. She's been the best offensive weapon for South Carolina. Boston draws 2. Kicks it out. Johnson gets a good look and knocks it down. Huge threes here for Raven Johnson.
Monster shots for Raven Johnson, the freshman.
And a great delivery from Aaliyah Boston.
Redshirt freshman.
Here's Clark. Clark wheels into the paint. Kept her left foot down, it seemed, but no. A travel is called, and Iowa turns it over.
Iowa continuing to leave Raven Johnson wide open. There's one defender on her side of the floor, and she doesn't even take a step towards her. And Johnson steps into it with confidence.
South Carolina, 3 for 16 from 3. Iowa just 5 for 17. You would have thought that'd be a big advantage for the Hawkeyes. It has not been yet. Boston lays it in, and South Carolina back in front.
A great give and go between your big 6'7" Cardoso, easily passing it over to 6'5" Boston.
Clark gets a clean look and knocks it down. The show is delivering. 28 for Clark, 2-point Iowa lead.
She's a step or 2 closer to Raven Johnson after she's made those threes.
Clark was able to avoid getting her 3rd foul after 2 early ones. Johnson airmails it. Long rebound Martin. Here comes Clark. Clark, eyes up. Using the screen from Sonato. Bounces to her on the roll for 2. 8 assists now for Clark. Sonato has 18 points. Nice response from Iowa after Boston put South Carolina in front. Beal over to Boston. Tried to squeeze it back to Beal. Beal turns, can't finish. Cardoso does. She's unstoppable. Cardoso is 7 of 7 from the floor. She has 14 points and 11 rebounds. Here's Clark. A deep one. You bet! Caitlin Clark! Absolutely ridiculous. Johnson will take. No. Boston stripped. Cardoso can't get it. Martin the rebound. Clark wants it. Hang on. No. He's going for the crowd pleaser. Zia Cook trying to take advantage. Cook lost it. Got it back. Laid it in.
Zia Cook, the one guard for South Carolina who looks like she wants the ball in her hand, like she wants to shoot it.
Zia with 22. One possession game once again. Clark lost it. Little careless there, and a foul on who? It's a foul on Clark, and it will be her third.
Caitlin Clark with 31 points. You know she loves the right to left crossover. We've seen multiple times in this game the defender right there, and it still results in 3.
13th, 30th point game this season, 36th of her career. She does have 7 turnovers now. That one just got a little soft with the basketball. 4 minutes into this fourth. Iowa leads by 3. Cook turns, takes, can't hit. Cardoso is fouled. If it's Sonano, it will be her 4th. You see Caitlin Clark, 36 career games with at least 30, only 1 game in her career with fewer than 10. And Iowa is going to take a timeout. Sonano picks up her 4th. Big one there. She's been so good. They talk about how they know what the other's going to do without any words, just a look. But Sonano will be on the bench for the moment after picking up her 4th foul. Now, how long do you keep her there if you are Lisa Bluder?
I think you keep her there until around the 3-minute mark. She has really been terrific, and you want her able to play the last couple minutes of this game.
5:52 to go in the fourth. Iowa is 67-64 lead. Remember, South Carolina undefeated. They have not lost since March 6th of 2022. 42 straight wins, including a title a season ago. Winner of this game will face LSU Sunday afternoon, 3:30 Eastern on ABC.
I like the look of high-low between Boston and Cardoso if you can get there.
Boston will fire short, long rebound. Johnson gets it back to Boston, and a foul is called against Iowa, and it's on Warnock. That will be her 3rd. Lisa Bluder not enamored with that one. And that was an opportunity for Iowa to actually grab a rebound, which hasn't happened often off South Carolina misses.
Well, what's hard is because Caitlin Clark's playing so far off of Raven Johnson, you can't get a body on her, and Johnson smartly got inside and got that offensive board.
23 offensive rebounds for South Carolina. Boston, a 76% free throw shooter. Hit her first 2. And hits that one. Just 2 of 8 from the floor is Boston. Last year's player of the year. Was limited because of fouls in that first half. Misses the second, and Clark ends up with the rebound. Clark burning by Beal. Caitlin Clark lays it in. 33 for Clark. Trying to will her team to the title game. Cook surrounded. Beal gets a good look. No. Rebound, Clark. Clark slowing it down. Gonna have to get it across the timeline, and she does. Here is Clark. She'll fire. Back iron, no. O'Grady can't get to it. Time out on the floor. A heavyweight fight. Caitlin game with at least 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Nobody in her stratosphere in the rest of Division I. Iowa, a 69-65 lead on undefeated South Carolina. With 4:39 to go, you can see Clark upset with herself, missing that open look from 3 moments ago. South Carolina ball. And Sonano remains on the bench for Iowa with those 4 fouls. Lisa Bluder buying a little more time.
South Carolina's gone heavy to get Zia Cook a look, going to her right side.
Johnson again. How about Raven Johnson? 21% on the season from 3. She has now hit 3 in this second half. It's a 1-point game. Clark looking to shake free. Working so hard to get the basketball. Clark on the drive, misses the runner. Boston the rebound. Gamecocks can jump in front. Cook goes cross court and out of bounds with the pass.
Once again, Raven Johnson wide open for the three. Caitlin sort of runs out at her on that one, but able to drain it. Her shots have been huge.
Monica Sonano back in for Iowa as Martin gets it into Caitlin Clark. Sonano, Warnock, Clark, Martin, and Marshall for Iowa. Cardoso, Boston, Johnson, Beal, and Cook for South Carolina. Martin gets it down. Sonano is fouled. That'll be the first foul of the quarter against South Carolina, and the third on Cardoso, who has 14 points and 13 rebounds tonight.
Iowa running a set to get Sonano posting up inside, and it's been so physical. Cardoso bumping with the lower body, displacing.
Clark curling around. Clark trying to work around Beal. She does. Caitlin Clark has 35. Those looks at the rim have been there for Clark. Cardoso dumps it for Beal. Beal throws it away. Clark has it, an opportunity for Iowa. Clark races in, couldn't finish the layup, didn't get the whistle. Now South Carolina with numbers. Johnson pushing pace. Johnson can't bank it in. Battle for the board, and at last hits Iowa. South Carolina ball with 3:03 to go.
You need to take a breath. All the players need to take a breath. This has been incredible action all game long.
The anticipation for this game was absolutely unrivaled, and the game has completely delivered. Cook on the cut. Tried the extra pass, had it taken away, and then a foul on South Carolina.
That's been in heavy rotation for South Carolina, but it's usually Cook coming from left to right, going over the stagger screens. That time she wanted to deliver the ball to a big, but good hands by Iowa.
Clark is 14 of 28 from the floor tonight. 8 assists, 5 rebounds to go. They're 35 points. Clark guarded by Beal, one of the best defenders in the country. Warnock stops, trying to get it back to Clark, floats it to her. 10 to shoot. Clark looking to separate. Clark, step back three. Back iron, no. Boston flags it down for South Carolina. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
Clark a little bit closer to Johnson.
Cardoso trapped. Clark tried to come up with a steal, and it last hit Caitlin Clark. Still 12 to shoot here for South Carolina.
Because of their size, it's tough defending South Carolina on under, out of bounds. Sometimes they can just go over the top to a big.
Zaya Cook gets a look, can't hit, banged up in the air. Boston looking to control it, and what will it be? Is it a foul? It is. A foul on Iowa. That is going to put them over the limit, and will put Boston at the line, or no? Is it their fourth?
Just the relentlessness on the offensive glass. Aaliyah Boston there, arm gets stuck in.
Fourth on Kate Martin. That was the fourth team foul. South Carolina in the bonus moving forward. Boston dumps it down. Cardoso flips it up and off. Beal battling, so is Clark. Who's going to win it? It's Clark for Iowa, and it last hit Iowa out of bounds to South Carolina, but it can be reviewed. We are under 2 minutes to go. And Clark is really grabbing at her left arm. And it looked like it did last hit Caitlin Clark.
Good hands by Cardoso to get in there.
Wow.
The previous out-of-bounds plays under review. On the floor is South Carolina ball.
Is that off of Cardoso's hand or Clark's hand?
I think it hits Clark's
Clark's
leg.
foot, yes, yes, yes.
Think about how hard Iowa has to work just to secure a single defensive rebound. And that even when they do, Cardoso comes up with that poke away. And you could see Caitlin Clark grabbing at her left elbow. And right now, when Caitlin Clark grimaces, so does America.
And as hard as Camila Cardoso has worked on the glass, how about here? The 6'7" player with the quick hands and the long reach.
By the way, that foul before on Martin was her third. So Sonato remains the lone player with 4. 1:42 to go. Iowa's had a couple of possessions to try and make this a 2-possession Hawkeye lead. But South Carolina has come up with key stops, and here they are, another chance to score. Down 3 with 1:42 remaining as the officials continue to look at this.
And while this monitor review benefits South Carolina because Dawn Staley can draw up a play without calling a timeout, clearly going off of Caitlin Clark's right calf, it also really benefits Iowa because this is a team that doesn't have the depth that South Carolina has, and this is a chance for them to catch their breath a little bit in this last 1:42.
Especially Caitlin Clark, who has 35 points, 8 assists, 6
After
rebounds.
review, the ball stays with South Carolina.
71-68, Iowa in front. Iowa has not shot it well from 3, just 7 for 22. But they've been great inside the arc, and as a result, shooting 49% as a team. Meanwhile, South Carolina shooting just 38%. They have taken 18 more field goal attempts thanks to their offensive rebounding.
Look for a direct entry into Camila Cardoso off of a screen. Just the shot clock here.
Clock is set now. 71-68, Iowa leads, 1:42 to go in the 4th. What a battle it has been tonight in Dallas. Here's Johnson, has 3 threes in the second half. Cook. And a whistle is going to go against who?
Warnock.
Warnock trying to hang with Boston, and that will put Aaliyah Boston at the line. McKenna Warnock's 4th personal.
She was trying to fight over the screen, but there certainly was a lot of contact. Ooh, Cardoso moving a little bit too. We talked about how physical it has been inside by both teams.
I don't envy these officials.
No.
Boston, 3 of 4 from the line tonight, 76% on the season, and she misses the first.
And I will say it again because it can be important. South Carolina is outstanding getting offensive boards off of missed free throws.
They rebounded 4 of their 7 misses in the Elite 8. Boston got the second 2-point Iowa lead, and a timeout taken by South Carolina. They still have 3 remaining following this one. Iowa with 3 remaining as well. What's at stake tonight?
A lot.
42 straight wins for South Carolina. Have not lost since they lost to Kentucky in the SEC tournament last March. Tied for the 7th longest streak in Division I history. Gone 389 days since losing. Did play 1 overtime game this season. But this has been their greatest test. A group that has passed every test thus far since coming to South Carolina. A class that they still call the Freshies, led by Aaliyah Boston. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark trying to carry her team into the title game.
You would expect some pressure here from South Carolina, not only at full court, but in the quarter court. One of the things that Iowa has done so well is and Caitlin Clark looks driving to the right side, putting a shooter in the right corner.
Here is Clark. Clark gets it across. 1:30 to go. Sonato wants it. Clark needs some help, and she's going to take a timeout. Wise decision there from Caitlin Clark. Every possession too precious. And Iowa will reset. It has been quite the evening for Caitlin Clark. Take a look at her second half tonight.
So much of Iowa's success is on the shoulders of Caitlin Clark, and she turned them there to get the reverse layup and then scoring over 6-7. The pullback left to drain the contested three, and her ability to blow by on the right side has also been stellar. I mean, we've been talking about this young woman all season long, and she certainly has not disappointed tonight.
Had the first ever 40-point triple-double in NCAA tournament history in the Elite Eight. Tonight, 35 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and a 2-point lead with 1:26 to go in the fourth.
As good as South Carolina is defensively, it might be a challenge just getting the ball in bounds. There they go.
Got it to Warnock. Clark able to get back to it. 15 to shoot. Clark all the way in, lays it home. There you go, partner. That is the exact play you anticipated. 37 for Clark. Iowa a 4-point lead. Clark has the last 9. 1 minute to go. Cook banks it in. Big answer by Zia Cook. Clark guarded by Beal in the backcourt. Will get it across to Warnock. Iowa with 2 timeouts remaining. Warnock backs it out. Wants to get it back to Clark, and a tie-up is called. Iowa has possession, so we'll stay with them. But Caitlin Clark is confused as to how that was not a foul, as Warnock was sent to the hardwood by Aaliyah Boston.
All over Warnock's arm. I can understand the frustration.
And the head banged hard for Warnock. Iowa does have 2 timeouts if they need to use them. Here is Clark. 10 on the shot clock. Clark guarded by Beal. Clark is fouled by Beal.
Not a bad foul. They had 2 to give.
That's
Not
right.
a bad foul.
What it does do is put time back on the shot clock. So Iowa can run a little more clock here. Into Sonano. Wants to get it to Clark. Clark going baseline. Wraps it out. Warnock trying to get it back to Clark. 10 to shoot. 25 to go. Here is Clark. A deep one. No. Rebound Warnock. Warnock backs it out to Clark. South Carolina has to foul. They're not. Now they do. One more before they put Iowa at the line. And Dawn Staley instructs her team to do so. Huge offensive rebound for Iowa on a night when South Carolina has dominated the offensive glass.
Iowa with timeouts in case they cannot inbound the ball cleanly.
Kate Martin will be the one to inbound it. Trying to get it in, gets it to Clark. Clark is fouled, and Caitlin Clark will go to the line with a chance to make this a 2-possession lead for Iowa with 13.5 to go. Clark, Cash. Family can barely stomach it. Here's the big one. She got it. A semifinal record, 39 points from Caitlin Clark. And a 4-point lead for Iowa with 13.5 to go. Clark has the last 11 for the Hawkeyes. And there it is, the record. 39 in this semifinal. This young woman has seen the expectations ascend to levels we haven't experienced maybe ever in the women's college game. And she keeps delivering.
Against the best defensive team in the country with some of the best perimeter defenders in the country, she has still delivered.
Now how does South Carolina operate here?
You got to go quick, that is for sure.
Here's Cook. Cook will fire. No. Rebound is put back in by Johnson. And South Carolina has life thanks to another offensive rebound. And some big buckets in the second half by the freshman Raven Johnson. Now Iowa spends a timeout. They have one remaining with 9.9 to go in this fourth.
Going quick was more important than whether you got a 2 or a 3. And so South Carolina still certainly has plenty of life left.
Both teams in the bonus. Iowa down to one timeout remaining. South Carolina with 2, which means they will be able to advance the basketball. Iowa trying to hand South Carolina its first loss since March 6th of 2022. And can Iowa get the ball into the hands of Caitlin Clark here?
Well, that would be their priority. Number 1, getting the ball in at all. But then number 2, getting it into the hands of Caitlin Clark. Lisa Bluter right there. The inbound is happening in front of her. If she needs to use a timeout, if they can't get it in cleanly, she can do that. Martin,
the trusted inbounder, gets it to Clark. Clark not fouled immediately. Now she is with 8.1 to go. And that will be number 5 for Bree Beal as she fouls out in what could be her final game. She is WNBA bound. A terrific run at South Carolina, and we will see if it ends tonight. Two more huge free throws here for Clark. 4 of 4 from the line tonight. She has 39 points. Clark got it. A 40-point semifinal for Caitlin Clark. This to make it a 2-possession lead again. Oh, yeah. Timeout, South Carolina. 77-73, Iowa in front. Nails at the line from Caitlin Clark. This Iowa fan base has been unreal. Deafening in Seattle. Same story here tonight in Dallas. Want to send love out to everybody in Iowa City who are dealing with some very extreme weather tonight. Sending all of our thoughts your way. As Iowa has a 4-point lead with 8.1 to go. And now, Rebecca, I ask you, in this instance, if you're South Carolina, are you going for the 3?
I think you have to. I think you have to. With only 8.1 left and the way Caitlin Clark and Iowa have been able to convert their free throws, I think you have to go for 3 here.
Johnson to inbound. Iowa leads by 4. Boston will fire a 3. No. Banged around. Out of bounds. Iowa ball with 2.9 to go. The fate is determined at this point. .9 remaining, and Iowa with the 4-point lead end the basketball. And this dominant run from this historic class of South Carolina on the brink of ending here tonight. inbound. Martin gets it into Clark. Clark races away, and the mythical mastery of Caitlin Clark continues. Iowa has conquered South Carolina. The Hawkeyes are headed to the national championship game. And South Carolina's undefeated season ends tonight in Dallas. Aaliyah Boston consoling Zaya Cook, the seniors and defending national champs who have been so consistently excellent since getting to Columbia. And there it is, the final moments for Caitlin Clark in Iowa.
All season, this young woman has led this team to a place that they have not been since 1993 in terms of Iowa. And wow, her teammates have followed in a big way. What a performance.
She scored or assisted on every single point of the fourth quarter for Iowa, and Caitlin is with Holly Rowe.
Well, it was such a hard night for you that you're cramping in the celebration huddle. How did this team do it? Very few thought you could.
All we did was believe in each other. You know, we might even not be the tallest. You know, we knew they were going to beat us on the glass, but all we had to do was have some heart and some belief. And, you know, we came through when we needed big plays, and I'm just so proud of this group, man.
Your coach told you earlier today that common people can do uncommon things. How did this group keep the circle tight when it mattered the most to finish this out?
You know, all we do is believe in one another, and we love each other to death. And that's what a true team is. You know, if you want an example of a team, that's what this is. Coach Luter knows how to create a team. She knows how to create a culture where everybody's valued, and I'm just lucky enough to be a part of it. You know, I love these girls to death.
It was a scrappy win, though. Kate Martin defending like crazy. People fighting their lives for rebounds. How hard was it?
Man, it was physical. You got to give them a lot of credit. They're a tremendous team. They've had a tremendous year, obviously so well coached. And, you know, they killed us on the glass, but we never hung our heads. You know, we just came right back down every single possession and got after it.
Caitlin, I know it's not about you, but this is an unbelievable performance for you. How did you have ice in your veins tonight?
You know, just a belief. We had nothing to lose. You know, I have all the confidence in this world, in this group, and, you know, they believe right back in me, and that's all you need is just teammates that believe in you, coaches that believe in you, a program and a university that supports you, the state of Iowa. You know, they've supported me like no other, and I love it.
You scored almost every single point for Iowa since it was 62-60. Do you understand what you've just done?
No, honestly not, but, you know, all that matters is that we won at the end of the day, and the scoreboard says that the Iowa Hawkeyes won. That's exactly what we did.
All right, let's see you in the national championship game. How does that sound?
There, that sounds amazing.